Good evening. My name is Susan Stevenson. I am the chair of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for the Village of Southampton, New York. I'm calling this meeting on July 13th, 2020 to order. Do I have a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. I'd like to introduce the members of our board. New to us this evening is Peter DeWitt. We welcome him to our meetings, and I know he'll be an asset. In addition, to my left is Sarah Latham. To my right, Jeff Broadleaf. Our recording secretary is Antoinette Edwards. Our counsel is Alice Cooley to my right, and Charles Styler is the videographer. Let's get started. Approval of the minutes. Did everyone get to read the newly advised minutes?
Yes.
A motion to approve? I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 22nd, 2020.
I second.
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. There are no signs. They've been taken care of by the sign committee, which is great. So we're moving on to written decisions. First, Innovator Properties. Did everyone read this?
Yep.
Written decision? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve, to accept the written decision for Innovator Properties, 224 Great Plains Road? Oh. Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Oh, no, he
wasn't here.
Oh, right, you
So
can't do it.
He would abstain.
So it's me. I'm an aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Sorry, Peter. Bad cue. Next, One Pond Lane. This is for the building only, not for the lighting. And, do I have a motion to accept the written decision for One Pond Lane, LLC?
So moved.
Aye.
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 Okay, written decisions. Okay, this needs to go in the front of one of those files. One of those bins.
These are,
Just put it right there, that's good.
okay.
Next, driveway gates, non-historic. Stephen Boyd, 104 Foster Crossing, driveway and pedestrian gates. Please step forward and state your names. I'd also like you, if you have information that you want to show us, it has to be facing us. Please put it flat on the table. Thank
It's
you.
what you have or should have in your
Do we have affidavits on this one?
What?
Do we have affidavits?
Do you have affidavits of mailing and posting?
The posting was, mailing was dropped off last week.
What's this one?
Wait, I have to stamp it.
I'll pass it down to you, Susan.
It's for snack.
Do you mind, Jeff? No. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm Brian Mahoney, landscape architect for Stephen.
This goes in the, do you have that file?
I think it's right.
I have it.
It's 104 Foster Crossing. It's thin.
There's a thin file in the back of this one.
Sarah, is it in the middle there?
Yes.
We've got it. Okay, she's going to, so we're looking for the affidavit of mailing. Put it in there.
What's this one? That's great.
Yes.
This goes with it? Great. Sorry, gentlemen, proceed.
So we would like to propose a very similar gate to what the Boyds currently have. It's quite old and aged, it's failing, and we applied for a curb cut relocation a while ago, which was granted. So we just would like to relocate the gate that's in the circled on the left side of the drawing, And in its place of the currently existing gate, we'd like to put a pedestrian gate that you see at the top right-hand side of the drawing.
How how tall was the previous gate?
They are 8 feet, and then the gate itself is 7. So we're doing an in-kind situation, just sliding it down the road, but replacing the one with a pedestrian.
Yeah, but this one is now positioned right next to another gate on that street, is that correct?
There is one setback from the
Okay.
road.
I find that to be a problem, but,
Well, there's also 3 clustered together, which is sort of a look at the village that.
fine, that's your opinion, not mine.
Well,
Okay.
it's been the prevailing opinion for about 20 years, so.
Yeah, no. So the issue is...
I don't know.
Great, okay.
Okay. You're
Keep going.
allowed to say what you will. So, I'm sorry, were you going to say more?
Oh, I've been hired to, do things that have been good for the client and good for the village. So the gate, the roads or the driveways clustered together has been something previous boards. So I've been a landscape architect for 30 years here, and that was something people wanted. So I'm a little backpedaling.
What's the spacing from the, so we usually ask for 50% transparency, and in the gate you're proposing, I don't see that. I don't see what's the difference in
The
the...
overall height is 8 feet, so the
Yeah,
transparency is 50%.
I see that, but the rest of it's pretty mysterious. This is how tall, and what's the spacing between, that's the information we would have liked to know.
It's on the plan, let's see.
It's not anywhere to be...
So, Brian, just for clarity, when we think of transparency, we don't think of the invisible space between the top of the columns and what's missing. So we look for the space of the gate itself.
Okay.
So, for instance, the gate that you currently have is more than, well, it's probably 50%
It's less,
or
yeah.
less. So if you were in fact truly replacing it in kind, then that's
Yeah.
the gate that we would look to have you do.
Okay, so then if we would move that to 50%, but so you're not including the top section.
No.
No, just
That's not the gate.
the gate itself.
So we could do an 8-foot gate if we wanted and maintain this and bring the...
We're not saying yes or no yet. This is 8 feet tall, yes or no?
Yes.
How tall is this, 7 feet?
It's a little over 7, yeah.
The existing is 7.
Yes.
Well, these plans aren't marked in a way that show numbers that we can deal with.
Well, it just
You
doesn't,
could write them in if you knew, do you know the
Yeah, we have a
specs?
full set of plans here for the construction. The other thing, if you notice...
Are there bigger sets in that file that have any, do they have any?
No, this is what you would see. They asked us
The same thing.
They asked us for 1 by 17 of this.
Yeah.
Who's they?
Diane, Jackie,
so,
it's easier for you.
Yeah, that's great.
But one of the trade-offs, so we have a pedestrian gate, if you notice, with 2 very transparent sides. If the goal is for passersby to see into a property, we're really giving that back in such a strong way.
Really, I think it looks like a fortress. We have that stockade fence that's pre-existing non-conforming. And I think it's too much, all of it. But that's my opinion. I think that, first of all, the gate that you're proposing is not 50%. You're willing to reduce that so that it is, which would be to lower the...
Yeah, if we're not counting the top, of course, we would. Absolutely.
But we're way, honestly, so it would be 4 feet, and these are equally spaced,
Yes, they're equally spaced.
and do you know what the dimensions are of those? We shouldn't be having to ask all these questions. Should we?
Well, you're welcome to ask them.
Well, how could you make a determination if it's just a drawing? I mean, really?
I think it's on the bigger plans.
don't have a construction drawing with me.
Do we have it? Did you submit anything? It's
No,
the
it
same
was-
as what you
Yeah, it
have?
was never asked of us, so I didn't do it.
It's not in the file? We don't have a
That's what
file with
he's saying. He was
dimensions?
never asked for it. I don't know what to do.
Well, I think it's...
No, but then I'm signing plans that aren't correct.
Well, I think we're not going to be signing, at least in terms of my vote. So, Brian, if you were replacing the gate exactly in kind, then you wouldn't have an issue with me. And if that was then replicated on the pedestrian gate, that would be fine too. It's the street has become more gated since I've been in the area, and the fact that you have the stockade fence, the more density and the more, not opaqueness, but what's the word I'm looking for? But in any event, more transparency is better than less, and if the existing gate is there and just has to be replaced, that would seem to be fine with me.
What about the pedestrian gate? What do you think?
To match the driveway gate.
Oh, that has a lower solid panel?
Right, yeah.
How about the side? To me, it's just a big, it just shouts enclosure.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than the stockade.
Well, they have that.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, and
That's
that was-
pre-existing non-conforming. They've replaced it, so that's just a fact. But that doesn't really,
But the pedestrian gate, I really thought would help the cause. What is the goal of the transparency is to enjoy these gorgeous homes. This is a beautiful
right.
neighborhood home.
To me, it's to
So
enjoy the,
without the pedestrian gate, then, and even if this is 40% opaque, you're better off with this. With
Well,
something like that.
we don't average it. It's gate by gate. So
No, but it's achieving a goal.
I understand. I understand you're trying to
And then
create an overall.
here's one down the block,
Yeah, well,
I know.
I want to prove
This
that
is
if that came
60/40.
before us. Yeah.
Ours is 50/50 if you would.
is it as tall as your gate?
It's an 8-foot gate, 7-foot.
Well, it wasn't approved, obviously.
Or at
It's
least
just there.
not
It's
by
not
this
our-
board.
We can't do anything
Not
about
by
it.
this
But now that you have to come to us, we can do something about it, so that's our problem.
So we'll do whatever you want us
So
to do. I do
would-
have another plan that shows the line if you wouldn't accept the extra foot, so half of 7. That's-
Really, well,
Okay.
my
So I
problem,
want to work with you.
Yeah, I
You
know.
tell me what you want. If you say you're
well,
not.
first of all, I need some kind of construction plans that show the dimensions, otherwise I can't sign the plans.
Okay, so we have the old.
But I'm not saying it's approved, but I'm just telling you, as a matter of course, I have to represent the ARB and sign the plans, and if we have some plans that don't have numbers on them, you could build anything you want.
I understand, sure.
So I don't want to be in that position. That's not really what I should be doing.
I understand.
Okay, how about you, Peter?
Yeah, I'd replace it in kind, and I wouldn't go up to 8 feet. It's 7 feet now. I think it'd stay 7 feet.
Yeah, so the one we're proposing is 7 feet, of course.
And Sarah?
Yeah, I think if you,
Jeff?
Yeah, when Brian comes back with a plan for a gate
I'm willing to let
replace
him
it.
come in with a plan, a building plan.
Okay, so you want a construction.
I'm not saying that you have to come into this board, if you're willing and honest about it, to bring two sets of plans that have the actual dimensions of the gates.
Absolutely, of course.
And we agree that you will be replacing in kind this gate.
To 50% though, not
Yes.
the 40/60? Okay.
No 40/60s.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, this is 40/60?
Well, what they have is 40%.
No, but if you count the slats, it's not. You know, we're talking,
So to me, 40% of that gate is opaque. And
good, well, we
60% is
love the
transparent.
40/60. Yeah, okay. You like the 40/60?
40/60 works for me, but again,
But then you would have to
don't know
cut down your
if
other
Brian
gate
is
too, is that
including
correct?
the airspace.
It's
Brian,
pretty
are
far
you
away.
including the airspace?
So yes, I was. That's why I brought
So
it
let's make it real simple. Why don't you come back at the next meeting? Because either we see plans or we have to take it on faith that he's going to do it.
Well, I
Which
have
is-
that here for 50/50.
Jeff's right. Jeff's right.
Okay, you have to come back, council
Okay, no
says.
worries.
So let's just go over it, so we don't have a problem, we'll go fast, okay? So you're going to replace the gate in kind. the driveway gate?
The same dimensions and the same opaqueness. No, that's what,
Well,
that's,
then you can
that-
bring it in and we
that's-
can say
that's
yes
the
or no.
problem.
You bring in
We're
whatever you
talking-
want, but they need to be
So can we
construction.
go, so the gate that we're talking about in kind is 60% transparent, 40% opaque. My client would like at least 50% transparent, which is the village standard.
But you get counting the airspace or not?
No, so
Okay.
this.
So why don't you come back with what
See-
your client wants, and we'll see if
This
it
is what he
includes
wants.
that.
If we
But
can't
that
get
gate,
in kind.
when you count up the slats, is not 50%.
No, it isn't. Not,
That's what, you're arguing
So,
something.
I think you know where we're going wrong. This is the existing gate that they have.
Yes.
We have no control over the existing
Okay,
gate.
yeah.
Let's hear what
okay,
you're going to do.
Let him speak.
Okay, so it's 60% transparent, 40% opaque.
I don't think so. We're counting all the slats. It would be 60% transparent if you had the upper panel open.
So see-through is not opaque, transparent? No.
No, it's how much construction material is evident, right?
Okay.
Okay? So you could work that out.
well, that would mean there'd be no bottom panel. If it's 50%, it would just be slats. Correct?
Depends how big the slats are.
So I've been doing this wrong for quite some time.
Yeah, I think,
So I think I've gotten several gates approved very simply.
All right,
and
maybe
this is what
I'm-
I followed.
When was that?
This is transparent. It's always has been.
You know, I've been on the board for 5 years, and
Okay.
you may have come before me. I actually don't recall
No,
seeing
I
you,
haven't.
but that's not an issue. So, but if a gate portion is 2-inch slats, 2-inch open space, and that's the way it is for the entire, that's 50%. If you're if you're opaque on the bottom and you're only 50% on the top, then
I see.
then therefore you would be 60-40 opaque versus.
Or 75.
So
I see how you're looking at
we
it.
measure
Some
we
people
measure
have
the wood,
smaller
we measure the
slats.
actual gate. It's, you know, there's some leeway, but I think what this board is trying to communicate to you and other landscape artists and gate builders is this concept of see-through, transparent, 50% on a gate-by-gate basis. So if you can come back with that, Brian,
Yeah.
I think we'll
Yeah, I'm
be.
flying by experience. with
Okay.
Previous
Okay.
approvals.
Yeah,
Okay.
I understand.
So
It's
you-
a little bit of a game changer.
So adjournment, asking for an adjournment till our next meeting?
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, motion to approve Stephen Boyd, 104 Foster Crossing,
We're approving his adjournment request.
for an adjournment till our next meeting, which is the...
Is that the right thing to do?
Yeah, come back, but we need the plans with the numbers
Yeah,
too,
just come
remember?
Yes, I'll get that. Do
And
you
we
want them
need-
submitted prior, I guess?
Yes,
Okay.
by the Thursday before, and we need some 7 small sets
Okay.
at the same time in the file.
Please,
got it.
Okay.
please include the dimensions.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
deadline
I got it.
is Thursday noon before the meeting.
You
Do I have
got
a
it.
motion to approve?
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Second?
so moved.
Aye.
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 Okay,
See you.
sorry. it was
Okay.
late.
Perfect.
Thanks, Brian.
Great. Next. Oh, One Pond Lane owner, LLC.
No, I think we're
Gates.
driveway
Oh, we're
gates
in
historic.
Gates.
South Main.
Sorry,
South Main.
historic driveway gates. Anthony Paduano, 137 North Main Street, driveway gates.
Yes.
And before, we thought it was too tall, and it was that, and you said it was pretty far back?
It's 30 feet off the
Yeah,
road.
well, it's not that far back. Okay, shoot, and your name is?
Harry Gio, landscape architect for my
Great.
client there at 137 South Main Street. So the review last time was the concern that the pillars were too tall. And so it's an increment of brick, and I took out 2 courses and 3 joints.
Do we have anything to look at?
Yes,
Yeah.
we all got these. You didn't get them?
Revised.
Yeah. Right.
I'll look, but I don't,
No,
it
here.
was hit and miss.
It didn't.
I have an extra one here.
That's all right. But you should put one down there, please,
Oh, absolutely.
so everyone can see. How wide are those piers?
3 bricks.
Reverse.
Oh, yeah, we did this before. So now it's how tall? 7.5 feet.
Correct, the pillar,
Yes.
the gate,
Okay.
teared down.
I think it looks better.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, it has to be facing us. You can't win, right?
But you are winning.
Pull your mask up.
So Perry, you reduced the column, if I recall, from 8 feet to 7.5?
Yeah,
right?
two brick,
Yeah.
two
Okay.
courses, and then the
Right.
gate itself, the same increment,
From 7 to
I do.
6.5.
Okay,
It's okay with me. Does anyone have, Peter?
That's good.
Looks good.
Motion to approve the application of Anthony
It's written.
Paduano.
This one's
No, to submit for written decision, the driveway gates, Anthony Paduano, 137 South Main Street.
Second?
aye.
All right, so you don't actually have to come back. It'll just be if it's approved, which
Someone give me their plan, because I didn't catch it.
at the next meeting, she has to write it up, there's a format, but you can get it then from the building department the next day. So there's no real need for you to reappear.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Great.
for working with us.
An approval.
Okay,
Transparency issues?
no, not on this one.
Very transparent and pretty, thank you.
Try to be.
Good. Next, public hearings, non-historic. Joseph Kundrat, 95 Burnett Street, construct two-story single-family dwelling and rebuild existing garage.
Hello.
Don't forget your 5-minute rule.
It's John Bennett for the applicant, and Jim McChesney is here as well. But I want to hand you guys some, I have copies of the letter that I have. How do you want me to do this? Folks, how do you want me to do this?
Don't touch us.
I have letters.
You know, let me just say, in future,
Yep.
those things need to go to the building department so we don't have this dilemma. And they
Okay.
need to be there by the Thursday before the meeting, so that we have files of documents now
Okay,
to
well,
help
I'll tell you what I'll
protect
do. I'm gonna put
everybody.
them here, okay? Those are multiple copies of it, and then I'll go through the first part of it. which
Mr.
is-
Bennett, if you haven't been here, we have a 10-minute limit on applications.
Well, I'll object to that because that's contrary to
That's
public
okay.
officers law, but in any event, and that's a real serious problem. But I'll move quickly. So I want to, I'm just going to have Jim talk about the architecture and the fact it's a very modest house, about 2,400 square feet. But there was an issue that came up as to the age of the house. And you'll remember, if you're not in the historic district, we're not here for demolition, because if you're not in the historic district and the house wasn't there in 1926, the board has no jurisdiction. So I know the street fairly well, having had relatives that lived there in my youth. So what I did is I said, let's really drill down and get the age of this house, because Zach didn't know. He said somewhere between 25 and 30 something or other. So what I did, hanging in my office is a 1922 hand-drawn Wallace Halsey map that I got from Squires and Holden. I think it's on linen. But in any event, this is 1922. I'll tell you, this is from a map drawn by Wallace Halsey, who was one of the predecessors of Squires and Holden. In 1922, Burnett Street was not there. So then what we did was we went to the
Mr. Bennett, I hate to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but last time there was an issue because there was confusion over how this property was characterized. It was just on the agenda wrong.
No, but
So I don't think anyone is objecting to what you're saying.
Okay, but for the record, Mr. Studenroth said he couldn't have the date. He wasn't sure of the date, so it's very important for the record for me to demonstrate to you that the house was not there in 1926, because that's a pivotal date in the village code. So please let me proceed, and then I'll bring Mr. McChesney up. So what we did then do is on the sandboard map, we took the sandboard map, this is 1926, and there was no house there, because the house is right just past the curve, and we overlaid the aerial photograph on the sandboard map, and you can see that this house was not there in 1926. Jim?
If you hand me those, I will distribute them, if you can. I'm not very tall. Thank you.
Yeah, we have.
Oh. So does anyone want, oh, it's just one? You should put it out then. I'm sorry, misunderstood. Yes.
We are just planning to replace the existing house with a shingle-style house, a gambrel roof, traditional materials, wood shingle roof, with cedar siding, similarly divided by windows, details, diamond-shaped windows. I chose to use a gambrel roof line to reduce the mass of it. The current house now is probably about 3 feet taller than the proposed house. So all in all, I was just looking to reduce the scale of it.
Yeah, I actually think your little house is cute, but the gambrel seemed on a street which has so many just straightforward little houses, like the one you're knocking down. I was confused about this particular style with the cape,
There's a gambrel roof directly across the street.
but not a prominent one in the front.
It's also, the gambrel is on
The side.
on the side.
Right.
It's not facing the street. So I walked up and down the street, and I always liked that street, because it has what I consider sort of plain houses that are modest, but really kind of very charming. And so I was just surprised to choose that style. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying I was surprised by your choice.
Well,
You're saying about the massing could be a persuasive argument.
The massing, I mean, the current house now, I don't believe fits into the pyramid law, whereas this one does. This is less tall. It's less bulky toward the sides of the property. And again, it's a traditional Southampton style. There are a lot of gambrel roof houses in Southampton.
Yeah, it's just that one little, like, secret street. Mr. DeWitt?
I don't like fat gambrels. The gambrels usually, they're thinner. They're not as wide normally. And I have to say, and then combined with the super skinny one, the projecting wing, no, I don't like it. Sorry. The gambrels, the main bulk is too fat, and the projection is too skinny. That's what I think.
But do you find it to be harmonious or disharmonious?
Well, it's got a little more. It's got more detail, I would say, more stuff, brackets, and things than the typical house on Burnett. I always like things more simple. I like the the way you scissored the roof at the bottom. That's nice. That's authentic. That's good. Well, that's.
Okay.
I think it'd be simple. It could be simpler.
Yeah, to me, the historic elements such as the diamond lights should be eliminated because in essence it diminishes the value of the real ones. I mean, the four squares, they're two very intact four squares, and then there's 104, which is the Cancelleri house, which the one that has the gambrel roof on the side. There's a severity on that street. I mean, there are odd people out, basically, but there is a simple aspect on that street that I think.
I think all the houses on that street are simple.
No, but the old. Introducing something yield historic with the above all with the diamond lights on and all the diamond lights on the doorway, I think is a false note.
I agree.
So the issue, as Alice was saying, is one of harmony. And so this presents a challenge because it's essentially a cute house. So the question for me that I'm wrestling with is how harmonious it is to that street. And when I look at that street, there are more straight lines, angular lines, and very limited gambrel houses. And my concern and fear is that this house, as cute as it is, will stick out oddly. And please don't take it personally, because again, it's a cute house. But I don't see it, if you were to draw the same house, design the same house with the same scaling, and eliminate the gambrels, then I think you'd have a house that's more consistent with the neighborhood, and the massing of it would be less imposing than the gambrels make it to be. Even though physically it's less tall than the house that's there. I'm taking your word for it, but that house is relatively simple, and not relatively, it couldn't be any simpler. It's basically a square colonial type house. So this, to me, presents more massively than I think is your intent, and is not in harmony with the other simpler houses on the street. I'd love it if you were to come back with something that was not a gambrel design, but essentially the same house.
But the same house doesn't fit on, the pyramid law doesn't work with the existing house.
Well, wait, if you had, instead of a gambrel, if you had just straight angles, how does...
The existing house has two full floors.
So, if you were to do this, well, maybe I'm wrong
Yeah, because there's ceiling heights and things here.
on that. Well, maybe you can't build as big a house, or maybe there's a dormer over here that doesn't go as big.
Your handling of your east elevation is much more, it's basically in keeping with the street at large. The window-to-wall ratio, and you have shutters that are operable that would, if folded, would actually close. Whereas the ones on the pair look like they'd make it halfway through the window to the window.
Yeah, I mean, we could make them wider.
So, I mean, to me, this is probably the east elevation. Closer to plain Jane than the plain, closer to plain Jane than the plain Jane.
So board members, where are we?
I would not be able to say yes to the proposed.
Is that three of you?
Yes, that would be me as well.
Is there a way to-
A simpler design, less gambrel. I don't know how, and again, Jim, you're the architect and you're a damn good one, so I'm not going to argue on that, but I don't know how, getting rid of this gambrel is easy, at least for me drawing with a pen. I don't know how you do that and still preserve what the client wants.
Not sure how I do that either.
And again, you're the architect, but I like where you're going, and I think it can just be simpler, more angular, and more harmonious.
It's right at.
Can't be
It's,
taller?
No, it's 30
Yeah.
29.
There's a giant school right behind it, not to mention, which, honestly, could be taller. By the school. I don't think you have the votes. Is there a way to take another look and see what you could do?
I mean, I guess there's always a way to take another look, but.
I think actually the comments of embellishment, it's a little too twee, that maybe if you could simplify, it would help.
It would help a lot if the porch and the flanking windows didn't have all that gingerbread on them, I think.
And then
But the sister-in-laws.
it would help. That would help me. I hear what you're
But
saying.
it sounds like you're not liking the gambrel roof.
No, not one person has liked the gambrel. I didn't like it initially, And then
Well,
I thought, oh,
Again, I wanted, this is for my fellow board, it's not about liking, it's about harmonies. Now, it's hard to separate judgment and liking, and, but I think what we're speaking in terms here is harmony.
on that particular street.
I understand what you're saying, but there's a big variety of houses on that street. The house, John, do you have pictures?
Oh, sure.
The house right next door is a complicated house.
I don't think most of that was approved, to be honest with you, which is it's not your
I
concern.
mean, that's not a simple.
Right.
Oh, that one.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And that's right next
Yeah,
door.
yeah.
Right behind the.
Yeah, well, it's where the two wrongs don't make a right department.
Yeah, but I mean, if
fortunately
you
for
just
us.
look at all these pictures, every
Put
house on
those,
this
could you put
street-
those all down so he can take a shot of this stuff so we can see it?
Every house is different.
Well, that's fine. We don't want them all
But
the same, but they have a straightforward character. Yours is more
Yeah, you got
lyrical.
a Foursquare, you got a colonial, you got a farmhouse, you got,
A Gambro, there's two Gambros.
But those are
yeah,
real.
but those are gambles on the side,
Those are
so,
real.
anyway.
Is that, so,
I said my piece.
all right. So I don't think you would have the votes for approval tonight, but perhaps you could simplify things and maybe desensitize the gambrel if you can. I don't know if you can. Is that, so it's your choice. We could vote if you'd like.
I would say no.
Okay, great. So you're asking for an
Jim.
adjournment until our next meeting? Motion to approve applicant's request for 95 Burnett Street for an adjournment until our next meeting on July 27th.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Okay. Next. Hey,
Okay?
are you 23 Cooper Street?
Yep.
23 Cooper Street Group, well, that's a can of worms in certain ways. LLC,
Well, we'll find out, right?
construct second-story addition to existing dwelling. Mr. Bennett, they started building and there's no plans of what was there. So we had some trouble.
They started building, but they stopped. Chris told them to stop, and they stopped, so that's not germane. And then you have what was there. What you have laid out in front of you is already in your package, other than, the elevations that you have have all been submitted. You wanted to see them existing and proposed side by side, so that's all we have.
Well, I
So that's
wish I
not new
had it.
information.
I'm not sure I have it in my packet. That's my problem here.
You're not understanding. All of the elevations, both the existing and the proposed, are part of the file. There's no changes other than the board wanted to see them
John,
juxtaposed.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you've got to turn everything around.
Oh, sure, for Charlie,
So
sure.
the videographer
Oh,
can.
thank you. So this is not new information, it's just at your request, what we've done is we've shown them on the same page, the existing and the proposed. Now, if I may, when people come to me, the first thing I do is I try to troubleshoot what the board, based upon my experience in appearing before them, would like to see. And one thing I did notice that on one of the elevations, there's this little, for lack of better description, sort of a Juliet balcony. The plans show it to be 8 feet long by 3 feet wide. Not extensive, but if that is problematic.
Because it's such a tight lot.
Excuse me? Yeah, no, if it's, I told the architect, who, by the way, if it's okay with you, I'd like to call and get on the phone and put on the speaker so he can hear it, because he's up in Westchester. I told the architect that traditionally, on the smaller lots, the board
Yeah.
doesn't like to see those things, so if you'd like us to get rid of that, we can do that.
Well,
So I'd like to see what the board thinks about that.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, then also, I looked
you?
at...
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Anybody
John.
else? Do you think it's a good idea to get rid of the balcony?
Yes.
Okay, because it's a very tight scene.
And then that's, as John said, that's consistent with
What goes on?
what
You're
we've
here in
done
front of the
before.
board now. This is the architect. He's up in Westchester. I just didn't have him on.
Is that
So
okay,
just
Alex?
listen. Just listen. Say hello and listen.
We can't, but
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay,
you don't?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
They probably can't pick it up, but all right.
Okay, so we're going to get rid of that Juliet That's probably a fancy schmancy name for it.
Get rid of the second-story
Second-story
balcony.
balcony.
Right.
And then the other thing I have, it seems, just to make sure, it's a very simple house with very simple, 2-over-2 windows. So we're just really replicating in terms of the shingles and the trim and everything with that second story. What's there in terms of materials and colors and sizes. It's just very simple, small ranch, adding a second story on half of it. We can
And
talk
I went
about
over there
fenestrations,
to-
whatever you want, but I think it's actually becomes a more attractive house with the second story over it. But again, we're here to listen. And we'll get rid of that balcony. And again, we're carrying on the fenestration, it's 2-over-2s now, double hung. We're just going to repeat the same. I thought about, for a while, recommending some mullions, but then, you're trying to make something that's not there, to be honest with you.
What are you guys looking for? Excuse me 1 second.
No, I'm just looking.
Oh, okay. You're backed up.
Excuse me, he didn't have that, so I gave him.
Oh, okay, sorry. We're having some issues with with the documents. That's okay.
Yeah, no, I see
Go ahead.
existing and proposed. Fine.
So again, it's a simple house with a simple second-story design, keeping the same fenestration, keeping the same in terms of, the type of double
Well,
hung.
weren't there windows that were changed?
Excuse me?
Weren't some of the first floor windows changed?
I'm sorry, Sue.
First floor windows were changed. Yes?
Everything's staying the same
Right.
on the first
So,
floor.
John, let me, so one of the issues has to do with the plans themselves.
Okay.
So one is a technicality, and I chatted with the building inspector earlier today. The elevations are mismarked. The front is marked as, I think, the west, and it's really the south. The west is the north, whatever,
I'll go through them with Chris.
Okay, so that has to be remarked. The other thing, and this is what Susan may be speaking about, is when they started construction,
Without a permit.
without a permit, but that's okay, that's past history. And they've borne the consequence, that they haven't been able to do anything for 2 months. So it is what it is. But on what is the east elevation, which shows there, I'll tell you. Oh, hold on. Give me a second.
Okay.
A201.
201. Oh, thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, if you just give me the number. if you could,
18.01.
Jeff.
No. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so what is marked as the south elevation, which is actually the east elevation.
What sheet is that, Jeff?
That's A-2.00.
A-2. Okay, the first one. Okay, very
Okay.
good. Which is the south, which is actually
The west is the south?
It's marked as the front, and you're saying, what is it, Jeff? I'm sorry.
So the front is actually the south elevation.
Okay.
On that same page, what's he's labeling as the south elevation is actually the east elevation.
God.
Okay? And then on the next page, you'd have a corresponding changes. But let's just talk about what is marked on the plan as south, but is really east. It shows 2 sliding doors. When they started construction...
Two sliding doors on AR 2.00? I don't see it.
A200, what's labeled as the south elevation.
What's the page, Jeff?
A2.00.
A
as in Alfred.
No, A.
Just plain old A.
A. It could be my accent, it could be the mask, it could be... So, John,
Let me do the full-size plan.
okay.
So are we
Say it
talking
again for
about
me, just
this?
one last
Okay.
time. Say it again for me.
So it's alpha 2.00.
And what was called south is now east. So you're looking for the south, which is the lower drawing.
Get there.
Yeah, it was pretty confusing for us, too.
Yeah, and I think, really,
Yeah, why are we doing
why are we
this?
doing this?
Well, Jeff
well,
was trying to
I-
tell me something about
well,
his concerns. So
Right.
No, but we're trying to tell you that it's been very difficult because the plans aren't
I'm
accurate.
trying to fix that,
Right.
Susan, but
I know, but we don't have time to spend in here to fix the plans.
Let's just go through the plans.
Yeah, so again, the nomenclature is wrong, but that can be taken care of. So on this, when you get Alpha 2.00, let me know on that. Okay, so that shows, as you can see, John, 2 sliding doors.
Yep.
When, I think it's Tom is, right, when Tom started building, they replaced, there now, where those doors are, 2 new windows. So unless you're telling me, or your client is telling you, that this plan is what's to be built, or is, and maybe this is something you can ask him, does he plan to replace the windows that he just installed with sliding doors? And this goes to the accuracy of the plan. That's the problem.
Give me 1 second.
We removed the window, the planting of window.
No, but Mr. Broadleaf is talking about the fact that the existing plans showed 2 sliders, and that was on your A2.00.
And they just recently installed 2 sets of Anderson
And you just recently
windows.
installed 2 sets of Anderson windows, so are those windows going to stay? Because if that's the case, you have to, well, they are shown on the proposed side elevation at 2, on the proposed, they are shown there as 2 windows.
No, I'm saying where the sliding doors now, John, there are 2 windows.
Currently.
I could actually show you if I turn on my computer, but there are windows where there are doors, and they just installed them. So what's the plan? Is it windows or is it doors?
Is the idea to replace those 2 sliding doors by windows? Because
On A200?
A200, yes, because if that's the case, I understand the board's concern. It's confusing.
No, what the intent was to show 2 sliding, the intent is the 2 sliding doors.
But Mr. Broadleaf is saying where those 2 doors were taken out, there are now 2 windows.
John, can you repeat anything substantive that he says so it's in the record?
Yeah, no, he said the intent was to have the 2 sliding doors there, but I'm trying to figure out the inconsistency because Mr. Broadleaf is saying it sounds like those 2 sliding doors were replaced with windows. Is that accurate or inaccurate, or what's the intention, Peter?
The intention was the 2 sliding doors coming out on, I guess it's not the south side, but the
east side, yeah.
East side.
He calls it
east
south.
side.
And are they going to, is the plan to leave them there?
The plan is to leave them there. If they're not there, then
Well, then we'll have to take care of that because it's confusing to the board. Plus, it was further confused by the fact that it sounds like there's some stuff done in the field that's confusing. So we'll have to bring it back so that there's no question but what is being asked for and what is going to be approved.
So now what's on there? I
Oh,
don't.
no, Jeff, let's not do
Is
that.
that no? Okay.
So the doors are what is intended, correct?
Yes.
So whatever they put in there, we're ignoring.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there's the question.
I just let the board member speak.
Okay. Then there's the question. The design of those. It looks like those sliders are floating above the deck that he's planning to put out there.
It looks like the sliders don't come down to the deck, so they're they're not shown accurately. They should come down to the grade of the deck. So you're going to have to make that change as well.
well, first of all, the deck is below the finished floor, and secondly, I'd like to keep it that way because for any snow buildup or whatever.
Oh, so there's a lip that you walk over. There's a lip that you walk over the sliding doors to get out to the deck.
That's correct, and I do that typically minimum 6 inches just for snow.
And Chris is telling me that meets code because that was a
I
question.
really do not think that you should be conferring with the
No, but
building inspector.
Come on,
That's
we
fine,
have
he's
to
here.
be
Building
improvisational.
inspector.
Okay. Well,
Okay, so it's the point being made that's recognized is the plans have to be adjusted at several levels.
Absolutely.
And whatever they decide to do on those doors, it has to be finalized by the architect so that when you come back the next time, we know what we're looking at and what we're approving.
More than fair.
Gotcha.
could you also, what is the material of the chimney? I can't see these
Well,
plans.
I don't believe there's any changes to the chimney,
Oh,
correct?
okay, that's fine, I was over there.
changes, yes.
Fine,
But it should be called out on the plan.
yeah.
Okay, we can just call out
You know, they
brick not
just
to be
really,
changed.
this is the second go-round with the problem with the plans, unfortunately,
Well,
for all of us.
Again, it's chewing up the applicant's time, so everybody's
Yeah.
bearing the price.
All right, so what,
So,
Mr. Bennett.
so, if I may, so unless the other board members want to talk about the design, the other element, John, is the landscaping. This is a flag lot, and flag lots have to have a landscaping plan as part of it. And as I shared with the applicant before, my wife and I happen to live in the adjoining property, but my views are objective and they're consistent, and I very much appreciate the elimination of the Juliet balcony and your work doing that.
I'm aware of that, you didn't hear me.
I know. So I know. I appreciate that as well. So I and the other neighbors are concerned about the screening. So what I'd like,
The screening.
the screening, especially knowing and seeing on the plans that they're putting in a pool, and when just because now this is, again, in part of helping a new neighbor, although I understand this is an investment and they're going to be selling it to somebody else, but
I'm not aware of that.
there are existing trees. I don't suppose this was intended to be a landscape plan.
Why don't we get you something that's a
Right.
more
So-
serious, helpful landscape?
because down the driveway is
So
nice.
what I might suggest, because there's some existing trees that border both properties, mine and theirs, I should say my wife's. She's nice enough to let me live there. So there's some...
Be careful.
I know.
You can revoke your
I am.
license.
So there are some trees that I know were concerned when they were looking at the property. The realtor had asked, would we be amenable to removing a tree? The answer was no. However, please supply us and the board with a full landscaping plan, knowing that it was required. I would also suggest that since the abutting neighbor on the Halsey Street side has expressed concern, that there be an effort to
Oh, what,
provide...
we don't have any objections from the neighbor on the record, do we?
No,
They should be on record.
she said she did send something in.
Okay.
She did that. But in any event, I will just speak for myself, okay? But screening that is ample, John, usually the board talks about 12 feet, that will grow higher. We usually put in like 12-foot
okay.
screening with it. If it's arborvitae, that it's going to grow.
The only thing I may stand from my own experience is it's going to have to be intelligent to make sure that you're not killing some of the existing or impacting the existing.
John, so suffice it to say, and I think we're in violent agreement, that a landscaping plan that's, like the code says, provides ample buffering and screening.
Yep, that's not a
required.
problem, of course.
Okay.
You're entitled to that. But are there any comments on, we're essentially replacing, we took care of the balcony, we're putting a second story on, same fenestration, same siding materials, same roof materials, same trim materials. And when I first looked at this, I said, is there some way it could be brought back into some sort of older vernacular? But it is what it is. It's a 50-ish, 60s-ish ranch house. It's just going to look like an artifice if we do that. That's what I thought.
I don't think anyone's mentioned anything about that, so
Okay.
I wouldn't go there.
No, John, you address all the issues.
We
Thank you very much.
actually have been begging for accurate plans. Please. How's that?
Well, somebody finally hired someone.
Okay, it's confounding that, you look at it and you think, well, what happened?
Yep,
So
I hear you.
can we adjourn this to
Sure,
our
let's
next
do
meeting?
that.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn the application of 23 Cooper Street Group LLC until our next meeting.
So moved.
Thanks a lot.
Second, aye.
Thanks, John.
Okay. The next application, Joseph Negri, 81 Halsey Street. There's a letter in the file requesting an adjournment till 7/27, till July 27th. Do I have a motion to approve? Do we have that letter? It should be sitting up front there. Negri. It's a big file. in the front?
I put the affidavit.
Okay, there should be a letter. It might be in the back, too.
Yes, adjourned to 27.
That's all that this says. Do I have a motion to approve the applicant's request?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, great. Approved. Next, Thomas and Mindy Fortin, 190 Little Plains Road, construct two-story single-family dwelling with detached garage.
Have the affidavit of posting?
Yes, how about the affidavit of mailing? You know what,
That also.
can you hand that to me, because I
Oh,
actually
I sure can.
am in charge of,
Yeah,
are those both?
Yep.
Oh, and your name is, sir?
My name is Stephen Lansing. I'm the building.
And is there in the file that you're the agent?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Stephen Lansky?
Yes.
It's
L-A-N-S-O-N.
This was stamped into the village? There's
Yeah, I stopped by there today. Okay,
Okay, we have extras. Here you go, baby.
so that's in their file.
Just put it in there. We'll be moving ahead. We're trying not to make people wait so long, as you can tell, because I know it's hard for everyone.
Okay.
I apologize.
Oh, no.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Michael Smith. And as Steve said, Steve Langston. I'm with Michael Smith Architects, and we are proposing about a 4,700 square foot, two-story colonial revival house. The site, as you can see from the site plan that you have, is a flat on the table. Okay, a very long, narrow site. And in addition to the house, we're doing a detached one-car garage and a swimming pool. This is a rendering of what which I think you guys have already, but that's a rendering of what the house would look like from the front.
I know you think we have it, but I don't see any, but that's okay. Go ahead.
I do. You do have it. It's A6. Not the rendering, but you have.
Yeah, and the elevation.
Well, I have an elevation, but not.
And
Yeah.
the original rendering was with the large prints that I put the
Okay,
application
never
with
mind. We got so
originally.
many. Okay,
I
good.
got the smaller ones printed.
All right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Front elevation is, a symmetrical, like I said, colonial revival, somewhat Georgian style home, relatively simple detailing and roof lines. White cedar siding, white dove would be the color, Alaskan yellow cedar roof, painted shutters, and like an aged brick chimneys.
What color are the shutters?
The shutters are going to be Chelsea gray.
Is that on here? Oh, here. Oh,
What color are the windows going to be?
White. Everything is going to be, all of the windows and siding and trim is all going to be white dove.
so I don't see that do you have used, is the color of the paint specified in here anywhere? But while I was looking for that, I noticed that you have a veneer on the chimney, which is a definite thing that we don't like.
Aren't those chimneys fake?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Why have
I
them?
have them.
We don't like them.
Why have them at all, you mean?
Yeah, they're fake.
Yes, that's just an affectation that's so unnecessary.
Above all with the veneer.
Yeah, well, the veneer is not going to cut the mustard with the ARB, I hate to tell you. I think, they're not real?
No.
No.
Well, that would make me like your house better if you took those away. That would
We can do
simplify it. I mean, that just seems like an affectation that I can't imagine, but that's okay. All right, go on.
Find the materials to be disharmonious.
We never
Yes.
allow, the veneer part, it's not even that, it's that
Well, it is that.
there are a lot of chimneys, too, in a house that's on a little street, not so big. You know, it's just a
Inoperable.
grandiosity department.
And inappropriate.
Yeah, okay. So, but you're going to have to specify somewhere, so it says painted, but see schedules, because in the end,
Which one are you talking about, the shutters or the?
everything, the
Exact
color,
color.
or within,
Can I see the color rendering again? Just leave it flat
Color.
on the, flat on the table.
All right, so now the chimneys are gone.
And the,
There you go.
That's already an improvement.
Yep.
Okay. What else do you have to tell us? Anything more?
No.
What about the diamond pattern?
Oh, yeah, we don't like that.
No, we don't like the
Yeah, I
diamonds.
got that from a
I
prior.
always heard
You know,
that.
when I looked at,
No
yeah,
diamond.
what's the point of that? Is there a reason? I mean, we're listening.
You know, sometimes it just comes from,
Okay.
no, I'm answering.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes from things that
Fine.
the client likes,
Yeah,
right? So you
that
blend
seems,
those in as you,
okay.
but we realize
Because I
that
think that makes it fussy, too.
Yeah, and is the front door depicted correctly on the elevation?
Panel door with two window side lights?
yeah, the panel door with two side lights, yeah.
Yeah, well, the door itself is not colonial revival. It's more like, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it would have a raised panel to it.
Yeah, but the design is wrong. It should, if it's going to be, it should be like a 6-panel door. If it's going to be a Georgian house or a colonial house. This is like a, 1920s or cottage-style door.
It would be more in keeping with the 6/6 windows that you have with the fenestration.
I think that the side lights would be better if it were single, look more authentic if it were single.
The door side lights?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
double, but single. And I think that it looks like the sills are kind of high in the first floor. And I wondered if you might scale it better by making the first floor windows taller, dropping the sill.
The sill to the
First floor windows.
Yeah, there.
Can't quite see what the height of the sill is. I mean, you can do what you want on the inside, of course, but I think it would be nicer on the outside if the bottom windows were bigger.
Taller.
Just taller.
Taller,
yeah.
taller, not wider, taller, yes.
Taller.
And you don't
Back to where they are, just taller.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to keep the same light size either on the lower windows. Let's not get in that trap where everything's got to be the same size square. Yeah. And also, you can make the bottom windows, you can make them asymmetrical. You can have a top panel that is shorter than the bottom panel. If that's a way to make it happen.
By the way, guys, this video should be available in 3 days if you don't pick up everything.
I'm not texting, I'm taking notes.
And so how would you,
Oh, boy, are they
He's quick.
first floor windows should be taller?
by dropping the sill of the first floor windows, you're creating
Yeah, it's a little,
more tension.
okay. Anything else there?
Yeah, so
Oh, no
Okay.
no diamond lights.
Diamonds, single pane lights on the side,
Green lights on the side
a
lights.
more colonial style door.
Like a 6-panel rather than,
Big two-panel, yeah.
so diamonds.
So, if I may, my issue is of a larger scale, no pun intended, but very much so. So Michael described the house as a 2-story house, and that would be very harmonious if it presented as a 2-story house, because most of the houses on that street are 2 stories, some of which are actually resemble a bungalow more design, having been in some of them. And when I look at this house, it presents to me as a 3-story house. And when I then look at your plan, and if I'm not mistaken, is there like 10 feet of headroom in the attic, or?
It can only be 7.5?
Yeah, at the peak, there's, I forget the dimension of the peak, but yeah, right at the peak, there's probably 10 feet and it goes down.
10 feet, yeah, and I don't know, look, it may be,
And it's not unlike the house a couple down.
well, okay, again, oh wait, if you're talking about the huge house that was built, okay, is that what you're talking about?
It's the one to the right of this, a couple down, which is this.
To the right facing?
Yeah.
No, to the right facing, I know who lives in that house, and believe me, it's not huge. Now, maybe we're talking about different houses, but let's,
Right, okay.
yeah. So, my view, my judgment is that that street, that side of the street, is dominated by true 2-story houses. This presents, to me, as I see it on this plan, as a three-story house. And then again, when I look at the plan and I see 10 feet, I'm thinking, hey, something's going on in there, but that's your stuff. But Michael, please, Michael, let me finish. So my wish would be that you would make it more of a two-story house. I agree with my fellow board members that the elimination of the chimneys and some of the theatrical elements in there will lessen the massiveness of it, the grandiosity, or I think somebody used.
Yes, my favorite
I
word.
don't know how you scale it down and meet your client's wishes. You've obviously maxed out the envelope. Maybe there's some scaling back. You don't have to do that necessarily, but to get my vote, I would like to see something that's more consistent and harmonious with the other houses on that street, not something that presents like a three-story. And this isn't the first, Michael, let me just finish. And we've had this issue in other cases, so we're not picking on you. If you remember the house on Armand Street, which presented as a three-story, and it was eventually scaled down. I can't tell you how to do it, but I can tell you my reaction to your plan.
I think he's trying to figure out what reads to you as three-story, so he can work on it.
So it's
Construction plan.
You've gone out to the full extent of the pyramid. Again, it's legal.
It's extremely narrow lot.
Okay, so you've gone out to the full extent of the pyramid. You've gone up to the full height, okay, with, nothing angular. And you've got a dormer on there that to some extent breaks up what would otherwise be a large roof, but to me it looks like a third story.
Well, there is an attic plan. There are three.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be
There's
blind not to
definitely
see that
an
part.
attic to the house.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call an attic a story, I guess is what I'm saying. But I hear your point.
Yeah.
On the
Well,
dormer,
it is another layer on top of the second floor layer, no?
Yes, yeah, but
mean,
it's not,
you know,
I guess my point is building a straight out.
Yeah, you're not going to build a,
Yes.
I'm not saying to build a mountainside.
Yeah.
Peter?
yeah, I was going to comment on the dormer, but before I do that, I think you should come in with a street elevation and a street plan that shows the houses on either side.
Just like the height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the height and
And
the
the space
perspective.
between, and also the plan, so we see where it sits in plan in relation to the ones on either side of it.
In context.
So that's not
The house was moved back substantially from where the other house was,
Well, then,
because the tennis court was removed, and then the house could then be moved back.
right.
But I
So-
think we would be able to analyze it better.
Yeah,
So we
see,
need
all of
an
that
elevation
might
and
help
plan,
the case.
context drawings. And then back to the nitpicking part about the dormer, which I was going to do first. This big fat dormer is no good. You have to do, this is a colonial revival house. You want to do a single window with a pediment roof, like a doghouse dormer, right? Where the window takes up the entire elevation of the dormer. I think you should do a pair of them instead of a single fat one. And perhaps do a shed dormer between, just if you need the space. I'm not sure how the other board members feel about that. But that's again, it's like a bungalow style. It's like that's sort of the thing.
Like a Foursquare style.
Yeah, it's a four-square.
Foursquare style,
It's
exactly.
very similar. But
Yeah, that's not right. If you're doing colonial, I don't think it's right. That's all.
And you might be able to squeeze out some of the additional headroom that you need.
I personally wouldn't object. I mean, everyone's going to say something. I wouldn't object to a shed dormer between two, single,
Small dormers.
that's gonna, I think that's
Yeah,
gonna,
isn't that going to make
and
it?
he's gonna yell.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying Jeff's not going to like it. But, it will make the dormer look better. And
Well, it's certainly an entertaining notion, I must say. I'm willing.
It's something,
Consistency.
it's an academic suggestion,
You don't have, we're just
but
suggesting.
it's a suggestion.
Got it.
All right.
So
So,
what Peter was asking for is a streetscape with at least two houses on either side,
Yeah.
and in perspective. So if you're saying it's further set back, obviously the perspective will be different than those.
Well, it could be, excuse me, it
I
could
was
be
thinking of
an
a diagram.
elevation.
It's an
Yeah.
elevation.
As long as you have the plan under it.
Yeah.
Well, the problem we have, Peter, with elevations, if it's strictly 2D and they don't use proper perspective, then what happens is you get some of these renderings that look like they have a 100-foot driveway, and it's really only 30 feet. And the fact is, as short as I am, if I'm 2 feet away from you, I'm going to look a lot taller.
Yeah, I understand.
And, you know,
But we can read the plans.
I missed that, but anyway, it's a lot to do. Do you want to come back in 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
Okay, motion to approve applicant's request, Thomas and Mindy Fortin, 190 Little Plains Road, for an adjournment to return on July 27th at our next meeting. Second, somebody? I'll second the motion. Aye.
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 Okay, it's a lot,
Okay, thank you very much.
but I think it might come out really nice.
All right, well.
How's that?
Thank you.
Next,
Okay, guys.
91 Fowler Street, is there, oh, he has to go get them. Oh, you're here?
Thank you.
Yeah, he was on deck.
You were nice.
You were
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Here we go. Your name, sir?
Bruce Lifton.
Oh, hi, Mr. Lifton.
How are you, all my masked friends?
Yes, I don't know anyone. It's so great to be anonymous. It really is. It's fabulous.
I have an affidavit of posting
Oh,
and an affidavit of mailing.
wait, I have to stamp it. Is this?
Thank you.
Okay.
Tell me where you want it. To you?
To me, because I have the stamp. Thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome. Thank you. Okay. So, I'm here to talk about adding 2 windows before we add them.
Really?
Golly, what a
Okay,
relief.
we're on Fowler Street. We're on a flagged lot. The windows are on the side of the house, the west side. They are 623 feet off the road.
Wow.
So more than 2 football fields. I thought that was important. You see the side elevation with the 2 windows
Can you
bubbled.
turn that around
Yes, I could do whatever
and
you want me to do.
leave it so that they can pick it up on the video, sir?
Sure.
There we go.
There we go. That's perfect.
Okay,
You bubbled them.
we bubbled them,
Yep.
and that's our request.
There we go.
Looks fine to me.
Yeah. Okay, no, do you have a problem?
No objection.
Motion to approve the application of 91 Fowler LLC, 91 Fowler Street for exterior alterations windows.
So moved.
Second? Aye.
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 Wow.
Thank you, board, everyone
Look at
stay
these
healthy.
split.
A record. Thank you.
Okay. Next. Public hearings, historic. Do I have to call out the Joyce if it's been adjourned 100 times?
Last time we adjourned it on our own, so I think we should make a motion on the adjournment request made by the applicant.
Okay,
On
motion to
24th.
approve the application for an adjournment until August 24th, 2020 for Thomas and Meredith Joyce, 765 Hill Street.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye. BLC Hillside Investments LLC, that's pending ZBA.
Yeah. So
That was actually our doing, so. Next, One Pond Lane Owner LLC, One Pond Lane lighting discussion. Hi,
Hello,
Steve.
hi.
Please say your name.
CMX Sami Architect,
Okay.
representing One Pond Lane application. I presented to you last time, and the board had requested to see a sample of the lighting on the building, which we all met there. I presented the lighting, and I'm here back for that lighting approval, hopefully. I don't know what to add beyond the sample that you all saw.
Okay.
Besides that, again, just to shed some light on that, it's 3 strips, 2 that runs the full length of the building, and 1 on the main entrance highest elevation. They're LED lights, they're dimmable. during the day when I installed the light, you could not see the light at all. When it was on, around dusk, it started presenting itself as a source of light. And it's much more subtle compared to a neon light, of course. And it follows the same color as the bands on the building.
Well, that was, I had trouble with the color and the intensity of the brightness. I actually think that the lighting, I'm not opposed to the lighting, but I didn't think the blue was the blue that I thought it was going to be.
I can adjust that.
I know you can. I just don't know how we can. How about other people?
My issue is more with the intensity, which might impact, if the intensity was toned down, then the blue intensity, it would not appear as blue.
I didn't think it appeared that blue. That was the problem.
Really? Oh.
I thought
it was purple. But
it was
obviously when
it was periwinkle, the color I always disliked.
I mean, there's a
in the crayons.
There's a dial that touch tone dial to adjust the color. So my finger is not accurate. You can actually set it up with online with Pantones and so forth and get exactly that color. And when you dim the light off, of course, you see less of the intensity of that blue.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the blue. There was just I thought it was the wrong color.
I brought the sample back again. I can show you when you dim it, it turns a bit more purplish, not purple, but yes, but at full intensity, it's much more bluer.
I know that. So is there a way to? We don't want it full intensity.
There is.
Yeah, to me, it was not strong enough. The intensity.
Really?
Nor the color. Yeah, no, I thought it was weedy. But what do you think?
Well, I really wanted to like it. But I found that it detracted from the blue stripes. It's like another stripe of a different color, actually, from what we saw. And I think it'd be nicer if you did an indirect lighting up those blue bands. Now, I don't know how you do that. I mean, you probably need a lighting designer to, do the detail. I didn't find it convincing. That's all. I didn't think it. I didn't think it helps the blue bands. It competed with them. And maybe just billboard lights, like the old-fashioned billboard light. I mean, I believe in architectural lighting, not commercial lighting, but architectural lighting, because it is a special building, I think. I think you need a lighting designer, frankly, a lighting designer.
Well, these are the works of a lighting designer, not my office. But I can shed some light on your perspective here. When you did come out to see the sample, was basically right at dusk when it's getting dark. So you could still see the color of the stripes in relationship to the light itself. But at nighttime, with these lights on, you will not see the blue lights at all, because these lights are not shining onto the building. They're shining outwards.
The paint strips.
The paint strips, exactly. So you will not. It would not be competing with the stripes, with the building's stripes, because they're not lit, basically.
Right, and we can't actually approve lighting up a whole facade like a Hollywood set.
No, I'm just thinking. I just found that I thought the intent was to highlight the stripes. And I didn't think this did the job.
thought it was, well, what was your intent? How's that? I thought the intent was to have a blue, kind of...
Actually, I can pass this on.
A blue light that was the same blue as the stripes.
That's what I thought.
And it didn't translate.
So let me show you.
Oh, are those photographs they took?
No, these are renderings. Here, sorry. Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, he's come with his fabulous. Thank you.
Light source here.
So to me, that's like whiter than I thought it was going to be. Do you think that too?
This is white, which
I don't hate that.
I don't hate it. I prefer it actually, but.
Yeah, no, I don't see it.
And you actually see the blue.
I think it's really.
You see the blue.
And you see the blue.
I love it.
So you see, this is at the more intense, which is not is much closer to the color of the blue that we're talking about. So when we, okay, this is the most intense. And
See,
that's
when
what
you
we-
dim it
we
down,
saw-
it
we
gets,
saw
it
this.
gets
Yeah, it turns
periwinkle.
We saw this, which was
We
a...
saw the
So
purple.
wait,
Make it
turn it
light.
up again.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better, brighter.
I think the more intense is better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's more in
Because the other
harmony
one was
with the thing.
yeah, it was super.
I guess at the end of the
And we
day,
are standing 3 feet away instead of, you know.
I don't know what's going to become of that place, but unless they're serving drinks, I don't think we're going to be
They might be.
going there in the evening to determine
Oh, I think
what
it's
the
definitely-
setting is, unless
It will be
this
set
is
at
going
one,
to go
it will
there.
be set at one, and it's not something that will be adjusted here and there and so
Yeah.
forth. No. It will be set at one, and it's not a drinking or eating establishment. We don't even have the...
No, I know, but
Septic.
that's today. We'll
I kind of
talk
like,
in 5 years from now.
I just don't know how to characterize it so we could have plans that were specific.
Well, we could say this lighting set at the highest intensity.
Yes.
This is as high as it goes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're representing that to the board?
At the highest.
And when you put that up against the paint, because we didn't see that, is it the same color as the
This
paint?
is
Or
the-
can
this
you
is-
make
this
it
is-
the
this is
same
the-
color as
this
the
is-
paint?
Yes.
That's fine by me.
I could go with it too.
I just,
Because you're reinforcing the historical color,
That's
and
all.
yet you're providing,
Correct. And we're not lighting any other parts of the building
exactly.
up there.
yeah, no, so it's,
Basically, it's just
Right.
the stripes. Yeah.
you're taking a black hole and you're making it.
So I just want to be on the record that this, so we don't start a fad of everyone wanting to light up the outsides of their building, that this is a particular architectural lighting specific to this Art Moderne,
Correct.
this replica Art Moderne building.
Retardataire art.
Yes,
That-
at One Pond Lane.
At One Pond Lane, and this is the one and only Art Moderne building in the village of
Correct,
Southampton.
And it
That's-
reinforces the architecture.
And basically, Art Moderne actually went hand in hand with some element of lighting. So we don't have any other precedents or examples of
Okay,
this type of
this, I
building.
just, you know, I don't want, I realized we could launch 1,000 ships here, you know, if we got in trouble here. All right, I'm willing to approve it at the higher color.
Was there other lighting proposed? Wasn't there
Yes,
uplighting?
at the
On these
base,
planters,
on
We
the
should discuss
planters, we
that.
have uplight, but it's a very light uplight, and I have pictures of that too.
Well, I just want to make sure we're
It's
clear.
typical
what we're
to...
approving.
we approved that.
Oh, I did
Well,
not,
no,
I did not include that. I excluded
all the
lighting.
lighting are,
Stop the lighting. You
it's
want to make that
basically something of this nature. Yeah. And as a precedent,
Oh, you got that down? Okay, do we think that's okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
I do too.
Do you approve it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just washes the building.
I mean,
Then,
an
you know,
example of that
we've
is
had
the-
some issues with your One Pond Lane with the backlit
That-
lights.
That is not on this application. I'm going to come back to you for the actual One
But is
Pond
that
Lane
in your,
sign.
but when we're considering, you know, is that your intention?
That's the intention, being that One Pond Lane is such a, I mean,
Yeah, it's a great name.
why should we give up
but,
that?
but, you know, see, then I feel we're getting incrementalized, and it's, you know, it's how you choose to play it or whatever. But I'm not a fan. Now we're creating something that is starting to look like a stage set with the One Pond Lane, and then I think you're going to have...
One Pond Lane is not on this
C-Mac,
application.
let me just finish.
Yeah, but you're going to ask for it. What we're saying is people
I like the
keep
subtle...
coming back to us with now they want the next thing, and we're trying to have a complete picture of the lighting situation at this applicant's
Right.
property.
I like the subtlety of what C-Mac has presented now without the One Pond Lane, because as much as it's not a restaurant now, when the sewer system is put in and everything else, it's going to be One Pond Lane, come, you know. So if that's what you're going to do, then I don't vote on anything.
So can I, okay, I can understand your position, where you're coming
Yeah.
from on that. So no lighting on the One Pond Lane, basically?
Yeah, I mean,
that what you're saying?
at least at this point, I'm just concerned it's going to be too much. So if we're going to talk about lighting, let's talk about lighting in its totality, or not talk about it at all.
Fine. I think that the owner would, I think the do lighting is hand in hand with the architecture. I can understand your perspective on the actual name of the establishment. I mean, every establishment has some sort of a lighting on their name and sign, but that could basically maybe not be on the building, it could be on the glass front, but we have to figure that out.
Actually, I think that might be better. And this ESO is just...
That's not part of this
Just
application.
checking before we... I
didn't try to sneak that in.
I think it's pretty overbearing and probably not so respectful of the building with these one pond lane. I mean, it gets very theatrical.
Yeah.
Well, it's not before you, so,
All right, so what are we going to do?
it sounded like you were about to approve the lighting as proposed.
Right.
Without that, but then when they come back, okay, fine. Motion to approve One Pond Lane, the LED strips.
Plural.
Correct.
Well, we have a written decision, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is historic, so I have to do a written decision on this one.
yes.
So you can close the hearing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we approved the building earlier today with a written decision.
Right, but, okay. So it would be the lighting as shown, no. The uplights on the planters, how many are those?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
8,
6.
Six
of them.
uplights.
And the planters, and 3.
And what's the intensity, do you know? Or can we make some kind of an agreement on this?
He's represented on the record that for the strip lighting, it will be the maximum intensity that he's shown
Right,
here
but how about the
tonight.
planters?
Whatever the board
I
wishes.
have no idea what to say. That's my problem. I'm not out there with the planters.
I mean, it's as depicted on his rendering. If it looks like more than that, then it's not consistent.
As per rendering. Okay,
This rendering shows it a little bit
that's,
more
that's,
muted.
yeah, that's good.
Most probably that's.
Okay, see you, Mac. You're, woof, woof, man. This is amazing. Okay.
If I may, could I call upon Chris just for a question?
Okay, they're
Chris,
very vague rules.
when,
He needs to get on the record.
okay, if you want to step, I just have a question to ask. Not so much about this building, but just
Yes,
about.
we have an expert, we have a guest here tonight, Chris Talbot, the building inspector.
So it often comes up, and whether it's in this case or not, is the limitations on wattage, limitations on lighting and illumination, lumens, and all the other stuff. So like on pedestal lighting in the commercial district, are there set codes?
No, there's nothing codified on our illumination. Never has been. A lot of municipalities have a dark sky legislation, which the village has never adopted.
Yeah.
It has been discussed many times,
Yeah.
but it would usually just be addressed either in front of your board
Right.
or in front of the planning board, when
Right.
it's redevelopment of commercial properties or development of them.
All right, good, thanks, Chris.
I can also shed some light on that. Based on my experience
That's all you can say.
architects,
You like those
is that
puns.
basically, generally speaking, landscape architects like muted lighting
Yeah,
of
yeah.
landscapes, not
Right.
high intensity,
Right.
because high intensity provides starker shadow lines,
Right.
and that plays against their design.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they dim things
So
down.
what can we say, though? How can we describe this in order to not have something? 6 planters as per rendering?
You can put your, verbalize it as your intent, what your intention is, but not to have too intense of a light.
Not too intense. We'll take that to the judge. Okay.
I mean, if the renderings look too intense to you, you could require submission of
It doesn't-
specifications,
The one that he
but it
showed,
doesn't.
that does not look
So-
too intense.
So I can put in the record this one and this one and say this is rejected, this is approved.
Can I have the approved one? Do you have
left.
another one of those?
The lesser of the two.
Okay, I'm going to put them together, and this is so, okay, approved. Intensity, okay? Just so we know. Too intense. All right, do I have a motion? Are we finished now? Everybody talked?
Yep.
Motion to approve
that.
the lighting plan for One Pond Lane owner LLC, One Pond Lane.
So moved?
For a written decision.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
sorry. To approve for written decision. I seconded. Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming in.
C-Mac, you were very good about, so this needs to go in there. because-
No one cares, but I really like it.
Do you like the intensity?
I love it. I love it. But I live in Sag Harbor. I was so happy to see the theater back open.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
All right.
Next, Johnson Navarre Properties LLC. So you had the mailing,
Here's the,
Yeah.
I need
there
to
we go.
stamp, are they in there? Are they stamped in with a date?
this is a disclosure affidavit.
No, we just need the,
He has them.
I've got them right here.
Oh, good.
is that the posting? How about the mailing?
Posting and the mailing.
Oh,
Good.
great. I know that was slightly a hitch.
Okay. And you're going to just have to announce your name for
Your name,
next
sir? Wherever that,
James Navarre.
so Mr. Navarre, we had our historic consultant
Yes.
write a small report, which I just had.
Yep.
Where he suggested, before you have to do this whole own thing, he said the house is a contributing resource from 1855,
Yes.
but ordinarily we would be concerned about window replacements because this particular style often used windows as a major design element. But Zach Studenroth did a site visit and concluded that the windows at your house were already replaced once, and replacing in kind with the same configuration as exists, rather than to restore what might have been, is all that we can expect.
That's
So-
right. It's just a replacement, updating in kind of 70-year-old windows.
Okay. Oh, here I have it. So,
And are there specifications of
well, he's put all that in,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
It's in the file, but the fact of the matter is, we're not preserving something because it already wasn't preserved.
That's right.
So do I have a motion to approve Mr. Navarre's application?
For written decision.
Yes, for written decision.
Thanks, Jeff. You get a second?
Second,
Second, I second it.
aye.
Aye.
Sarah?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're
All
welcome.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad Zach went because
Thanks,
it makes it
James.
simpler. Next, 199 Cooper's Lane LLC, 199 Cooper's Neck Lane, construct two-story addition and accessory pool house.
Here's an affidavit of mailing,
Okay, is it stamped with a date?
June 22nd.
Good, as long as it's stamped.
Yes. Oh, I think we got jurisdiction last time, right? This is a
Oh, we
continuation?
did? Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
So
We
we
were
have-
here on 6/22.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
I need the name, please.
So what was it you were, I know, okay,
Hello.
yes. Hi, how are you today?
Good, how's it going? My name is Pete Pasquale. I'm the architect for 199 Cooper's Neck.
So you came back with a completely different situation?
Well, we came back, the last time we met, or 2 times ago, we had created a garage that was too alien to
Yes.
what was happening. We came back last time with a simpler gable roof structure, but we had a glassier connection between the garage and the base building that felt alien. It felt like there were 3 things happening. And what we wanted to do was to simplify it and create the connection in the spirit of the garage that we're proposing.
Here we go. Got it. You want to just discuss the
Sure thing.
materials, for instance,
Sure thing.
and your
The-
rationale?
Yep. So the garage, just to recap, was placed here on the south side of the property to do a couple of things. One, to block out a very large neighbor that is set forward of this house towards Meadowmere. to shape a pool area such that we can keep the original Atterbury portion of the house open, and to minimize the amount of paving and drivable surface that we have on the lot. That's why we didn't consider the garage elsewhere. The one thing that's really been amazing about the house to date in replacing the windows is the gray that we've selected really resonates and reinforces the sweeping Atterbury roof. It locks together. We feel great about it. For the cladding in the exterior, we're planning to use a vertical board. It's dimensionally stable and rot resistant, and paint that to match the same color as the windows. It will blend in with the roof, and such that the garage and the connector become a set piece for the yard and a backdrop.
I like it. It's only taken how many times now? 3?
This is our third, but
yeah, I
it's
think
a big project.
It has a presence, and it definitely is distinctly different from the house, but it has a kind of muted presence that I like. But
given the color, it steps back.
I think it really will recede.
Yeah.
I think it looks great.
No objections from me.
Oh, my God.
Great.
Motion to approve application 199 Cooper's, to refer for written decision, 199 Cooper's Neck Lane LLC, 199 Cooper's Neck Lane.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Well done. You do a good job. You do a very good
Thank you very
presentation.
much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your renderings, everything. It makes it easier. Good luck with it.
Presenting these guys.
Very excited about that house.
Great, we are too.
Next, White Fence Incorporated, 409 First Neck Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Caroline Clancy. I have the mailing and
Sorry, Helen or
posting.
Ellen?
What? Caroline.
Caroline, that's totally wrong.
It muffles everything. I'll try to speak more clear.
Thank you.
I also have the 11 by 17 sets.
Okay, in future, they need to be in the building department by noon of the Thursday before the meeting.
Okay,
And
apologies.
we need more sets, but that's okay. We're here now.
All right, thank you. Do you want them or do you want? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. They're divided by middle paper.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I see, is this stuff, where's the other one?
Oh, it should have been 3 pages. It was just one.
Is it stuck together? I mean, I can't get it.
No, this is just,
It's thick tape.
it is big paper. Is the other one right directly behind it? No.
Oh, okay, I've got it. It had some weird, sorry. You got the law. I thought, wait a minute. Okay,
I know,
sorry.
it's fancy paper.
Got it now.
It's to the next manila.
Yeah, they're dividers of the manila.
So you take all of that.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to give you that to put in your file.
Is there a copy for me?
Yeah. That's all. You have it.
Thank you.
I had
Now-
white fences right
I think I've already had.
Does Peter have one?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know what is extra stuff. That's more. Okay,
Okay, so just let me know when you're ready.
okay, we're
Okay.
ready.
So the area proposed is the north elevation. It's bubbled in pink, and it's under a covered porch. And basically what we're doing is we're taking this door and these 2 windows, and we're making it into 3 mold windows with 1 wider mold window in the center. And that's it.
Okay, here's what, we had our historic consultant look over. And he wrote, these appear to be relatively minor adjustments of what's already been approved. The overall massing, fenestration, and detailing of this important, quote, contributing resource are being preserved in the design, and what's presented is substantially out of sight from the public way. So, does anyone have any objections?
No objections.
No objection.
Motion to turn over for approve, what do you say?
Approved for written decision.
Approved for written decision. No wonder I couldn't say it. The application of White Fence Incorporated, 409 First Neck Lane, for minor exterior alterations and changes to a previous plan.
Sheet A-208.
Motion?
I moved, so moved.
Second?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
We're getting somewhere. So wait, were any of these plans, were these in the file, do you know?
That's just the 11 by
Oh, yeah, they
17
were in the
set of what we submitted, yes.
The big plans are in the file,
The
right?
big plans are in the file, yes.
So we're not going to put this in, just to make more stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
Next, Bath Realty Associates LLC, 309A Jobs Lane, exterior alterations. Is there any, oh, your name, please?
Elizabeth Rexroad.
Posting and mailing?
You okay?
Are you okay?
No, I'm fine. I hit your microphone. Sorry.
Okay, good.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
You wanna sit down for a
sorry.
moment?
No. Sorry for the excitement.
That's all right. Everyone has, we could use a little excitement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
We're getting to the end.
You sure your back's okay, Elizabeth?
Are you, really, if you want to take a moment, please do. Okay.
I promise you, I am fine.
All right.
That would have taken me out.
So, you're
Bath Realty, right?
you're asking to paint it?
Correct. So we had, there is signage and an awning that was presented
We
June
approved it last time.
22nd
Yeah.
and approved. And what we are, this is the existing exterior. We are proposing that on the concrete block, that we are putting new window trim surrounding the window beneath the awning, and that we have, we're extending the trim on the facade, and then we are painting it. This is the awning color that was previously approved, and these are the two paint colors.
Any objections?
No, it's good.
No one has any objections, so we're just going to, after all that.
After all that.
After all that.
Motion to approve the application of Bath Realty Associates LLC.
For written decision.
To approve for written decision, Bath Realty Associates LLC, 30A Jobs Lane, exterior alterations. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Oh, yes, aye.
Oh,
Did anyone second?
Elizabeth
Somebody
Rex
did it.
Road.
I second.
Rex Road, Rexrode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a lovely evening.
You too?
You too.
And some plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see there.
I was going to say it will be great, and it's soon.
Good.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Next and finally, Beechwood Latch LLC, 101 Hill Street. Amend a prior ARB approval, exterior alterations to column design and exterior doors for 2 rear units. Is that the extent of it? Weren't some windows changed?
No, the rear doors are replacing the windows.
I need names, please.
Sure. Stephen Dubb from Beechwood Homes, 200 Robbins Lane, Jericho, New York.
Do we have affidavits? Thank you.
By way of explanation, it may be easiest to follow. If you take those packets that Rob just handed out, and you open it to...
Well, hold on. Let's get them distributed, and then Stephen. Stephen, what was your last name?
Dubb, D-U-B-B.
Oh, that's easy.
He's been here many times.
But I have a memory like a sieve.
Very forgettable.
His face is also covered.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Beechwood?
How many do we have?
I think we should have enough. There's 2 more there. Do we need more?
No, we don't. We're good. Here, this is for Peter. You got one, right?
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so if you open up to page 6, which is in tab B, that's a copy of the approved site plan of the planning board. And then on page 7, you'll see a blow-up of that site plan with the rear of the site, the north end of the site. And what you can see there are 3 patios, one for each of the townhomes, 2 in the back, and then 1 to the side.
Yep.
And in all the work we did in the ARB approval process, when we submitted elevations for all these different types of buildings, we forgot to put the doors into those patios, just on this building. So if you go to pages 36, sorry, I believe it's 35.
Upside down.
Turn it. Yes,
Sorry.
please.
35 has the approved rear elevation. At the top and at the bottom are proposed. And the only change that we are asking to make is to take one of the triple windows and turn it into a patio door for the 2 units that have the rear patios on the site plan. And then I believe it's page 37, which is the house that has the patio on the side. The reason the patio is on the side is that was what the planning board wanted us to do. And again, you can see the approved elevation at the top and our proposed at the bottom with the additional door. This also shows the column change that we're asking for, but they're 2 separate, obviously they're 2 separate asks. One is just for the patio doors, which is extremely important to us because people expect to be able to access their patio in their house. And then the second is the columns, which I'll talk about in a second. And I'm sorry that we missed this when we initially went through the ARB process. There was a lot, and it was stupid. Frankly, I don't know how we missed something so big.
So, forgive me, but I see more windows down here than I see up here.
I know. So in the packet that we handed out tonight, we have the correct rendering.
So you don't have those extra windows?
No. The windows are going to be entirely the same, with the exception of those 3 patio doors.
Because that was of concern to us, because, you know, we have a description, and then we look at it and think, well, just a second here, what's going on?
Totally
So
understood.
I'm going to ignore this, is
Yeah,
that
please
correct?
do. That's a mistake.
Okay, it's a mistake, let's just let it go at that.
The packet you have is the correct, has the correct
Okay,
rendering.
I personally do not have a problem with the doors.
Doors are fine.
Anybody?
The single one is a little awkward, but
It's in the back.
37.
It is in the very, very back of the property.
Yeah, I'm just saying from a design standpoint,
Yeah, it's kind of awkward
it's
looking.
awkward.
But,
But it's the same size as the window opening, so they'll turn sideways and go out to their patio.
what if you separated it? Can you just make separate framed openings, one for the window, one for the door?
I don't think they could because of the proximity to the chimney.
It would be less awkward.
Yes,
Yeah, that is
yes, you're right. I agree with you, and I shouldn't answer him. I think Peter is right. If it was a
strip of
true
shingle,
single
like
window,
6 inches of shingle between the trim, between the frames, maybe.
Then it wouldn't look like you made a mistake and you're trying to...
Yeah, it looks like a mistake, frankly.
That's true.
You're trying to ram it in, the existing opening.
I agree with
Is it
that.
working plan if you do that? Just push it over 6 inches?
Stephen, can you turn it around?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
And point to what we're talking about. There we go.
So, yeah, so...
It's, no, the one that's on page 37.
Oh, it's not the 2 rear doors.
Nobody's
those
arguing
fine.
about the doors. It's the one that has a half window attached to the door.
Yeah, that's funny looking.
That's
This
just
one.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very peculiar.
Rethink it.
Can you move it over? It's what Peter and Sarah were
a strip
saying.
of shingle between the window and door frame?
Otherwise, you're going at your mistake.
Understood.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
we
just
can do that.
doesn't look right.
We can do that.
And there's half a shingle. I mean, half a shutter. What's with that?
I would remove that.
Get that
rid
out of
shutter.
there.
You don't need it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That makes it even worse, so here you go. So we might need to see that again.
We might have to send a design bill. Sorry.
It's okay, I'll send it to Fleetwood McMullen.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
I thought they did a
Peter,
good
Sarah. Yeah, it's a good
presentation.
call.
They were very
Yeah.
professional.
They did.
Honestly, they did. It was a lot.
Well,
Now, so what, can we get a new, we're going to have to have a new plan for that.
yeah, so
Okay.
we can certainly do a new plan for it. But my understanding is that the two rears are okay, it's just this side
Right.
that we're
Yeah,
gonna do. Okay, got it. And then
And
the columns.
yeah, that's controversial.
I understand, and I just wanted to take a second shot at it. It was Fleetwood McMullen's original design, and when you look at the renderings, I don't know how to articulate this nicely, but I just think that it looks a lot prettier. And I understand what Zach said about historically you did not have curved fascia like that above columns, and I totally respect that, but this is set back in the property.
It just seems fussy to us.
You have trabeated openings the entire project, and then to all of
Do
a
this,
sudden introduce these scallops, for want of a better expression, makes no sense from the design.
I think it really detracts.
The building, I mean, the columns as approved.
If you prefer.
I think
If it's no, it's no.
Peter?
Well, I prefer the columns, but I tell you, I prefer the base on the proposed, the lower base. You know.
Yeah, but we've got, like, how many of these things?
Oh, maybe that's just a grade
Let's not
thing.
reinvent the wheel here. This isn't the only building.
Okay, no, I'm fine.
You know what I
with it.
mean?
I don't really like the arches.
I think the arches make it look more like a condo complex than a more stately, I can't explain it.
Okay.
A conglomeration of buildings. How's that?
You guys are the experts.
Well, we're not, we'll see. I thought what came out the first time was the right thing, and I was disappointed with this.
You know how to charm.
So all we need, so until, we're going to have to have.
Are the steps different?
What?
The steps?
What?
There are fewer steps on the...
Yeah, right. So, but what we're rejecting and what Stephen is accepting is to go with the original plan.
Yes.
So good.
We're forgetting the change in
We're
the
done.
trim. So the one thing that we can't forget is that third condo with the side condo that has the patio on the side, the window and the door need to be rethought.
On sheet.
Okay.
Well, presumably Stephen is coming back.
I guess he's gonna have to come back
with
with this
that
stuff.
design. I mean, okay. We look forward to it.
So I think it's going to be pretty straightforward if we can just get this straightened out. The shutter,
just separating it, getting rid of the shutter.
they'll see somebody didn't think that through.
Yeah.
All right, so you're asking for an adjournment until our next meeting?
Yes, please.
Motion to approve applicant Beechwood Latch LLC, their request for an adjournment until our next meeting on July 27th.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, so just procedurally, so Stephen and his group doesn't have to replace this entire thing. I think it would be permissible to have, say, delete page 37, replace it with the new piece, right? Or do they have to
Yeah, you
submit a
could do
whole
that
new
in a
package?
cover letter. I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, so that you don't
Bring the
have to
last
do the
page?
whole thing. So just,
Got it. I
Bring
appreciate
page
that.
37?
or whatever the page number was. I was
Yeah.
just-
But in future, let's do this on the record before we close it out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In future?
No, what
We're
I
going to do
said-
this on the record. This discussion will be on the record before we close their hearing for tonight.
Right.
So that we're having a discussion after the record is closed on this matter.
Right.
Okay, so we're not discussing it. Okay, motion to close the meeting of the Architectural Review Board.
Thank you.
No, before we do, I just wanted to address, I guess it's administrative, but just to let you know that at the last trustee meeting, I spoke to the trustees that I was concerned about what I define as an absurd situation in which it's easier to demolish a house than it is to get a dormer. And I said that we would be working on a proposal such that any house greater than 50 years of age, or whatever the number is that we come up with, would require ARB approval. And I wasn't opening it up for discussion. I just said it was something we're working on. They seem to be enthusiastic about it. I understand that Alice is working on something. It's something that Susan shares with. I'm happy to take it on as a project to start putting together a presentation and share it with you
Well,
folks.
let's get the law written, and then somebody can present it.
Yeah.
I've written one, I can circulate.
So that, I think in the past, the problem is someone goes and talks about it.
Right.
And then no one ever writes, this is my experience,
Right.
ever writes the law. So if we presented them with the law, let's say,
Right.
or a form of the
Right.
law that we feel is right, that might move it forward.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
because we've talked about this a
Right.
lot, and I think it's important.
Right, so what I had envisioned is a simple PowerPoint that here's the situation, here's the problem, here's the solution. The solution would be...
I think like one example would be good.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Just a real straightforward presentation.
exactly.
I think long presentations get buried.
Okay, and then we...
Show some houses that, in your opinion, should have been preserved.
We've got some.
Yeah.
And could have been by this new law.
We're good with that. Good.
All right.
Also that, as a certified local government, we should have moved forward to protect the buildings that
Yeah.
are under 50, over
Right.
50 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, I'll circulate that along with a bunch of
We're not, the siren isn't going off. It's not an emergency.
I already wrote it.
Let's try to, I just think that the way we did it, it's been discussed. It never gets a resolution, and what we're looking for is a resolution.
Is a resolution.
And the only way to get a resolution is to present the product, let's face it.
And
Okay.
the planning commission is behind this.
Right, okay.
But they never get a
I
resolution.
know, but they're at least...
They've talked about it a lot.
And so I'll work on it and share it with you folks, get your input. And
Thank you.
I'll work with Alice.
Okay, so
Thank you.
a motion to close the meeting?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.